want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
Well, I guess the host has unmuted my microphone, so I'm going to guess that we're actually talking to all of our good followers and faithful patrons and so forth. Well, here we are, and I'm going to have to warn you that this is the great red pill experiment. That's added a new category to our collection of red pill items. It's an experiment because we're doing something we've never done before. In fact, I've never even seen it done before or heard of it being done before. But we're in strange territory, new territory for us. So be prepared for anything, folks. Just pretend like you're sitting here in my office, which I am, and we're having a little conversation. And our task today is to talk about this and that, but mostly to talk about the prizes and the raffle prizes that we've made available through our patrons who have donated prizes to help us fund this whole project. It's a pretty good deal when you think about it. We get other people to donate the prizes and we give them away and everybody thanks us. Well, actually, I'm going to make sure that before this show is over, and I call it a show, that you'll recognize that the prizes are from our supporters. And we thank our supporters first and foremost for making this possible. Now, how you run a raffle and select prizes on screen and do it live stream and all that thing, we haven't the foggiest idea. My assistant here, my event coordinator, Carlene Potter, is right behind me, and she doesn't want to be on camera, but I'm going to move my desk. I'm behind my desk and swing my chair around, and there she is, sitting in the background. So you know when you hear this voice coming from behind me, it really is the power behind the throne, so to speak. And she's making this show work. All I'm doing is talking about it, and I get to read a few things from the paper in front of me and comment on some ideas that cross my mind as we go. So our task here is very simple. We're not putting on a show. All we're trying to do is select the winners and to do it in a way that you can be assured that we didn't stack the deck in any way. Um, None of our friends and family members are participating in this, and we're having a lot of fun finding the right paraphernalia to make it look interesting. Carlene found a little gizmo on the internet where we have a little box and it'll swirl around, and it's hooked up to a computer random generator. So we took all of the tickets that were purchased or given away because of the enrollment at the Red Pill Expo. Everybody who had a ticket to watch or signed up, I should say, who signed up to watch the expo online, got a free ticket, and we were glad to do that. But then we also were hoping that some people would want to make some donations, and for a few bucks more, they could acquire a few more tickets and have a little better chance at winning the prizes. It seemed only fair, is our way of thanking them for their financial support for what we're doing. But whatever it is, we're going to have fun today. And if it all works, I'll be the most amazed of them all. So here we go. Carlene assures me that it's all under control. All the technology is all taken care of. And she's laughing, but actually, she's one sharp cookie, I'll tell you. She picked up on all this so fast, and my head is still swimming about it. How do you reach out to so many people, have all these feeds and all this, the the social media connections and people on our list and on other people's lists? How do you do this? I haven't the foggiest idea, and I'd be lucky if I can just get through the process of telling you what the prizes are, reminding you, because I'm sure most of you are well aware of that from seeing the hoopla we've done on the website about it. But I'll go through them one by one, and then we'll turn on this magic box that selects a number. And Carlene has gone to a great deal of trouble to make sure that every ticket, every number is associated with the name of a person who signed up for our Red Pill Expo just last month. So it's all fair and square, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And some of these prizes are really amazing. And so that's our task, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I am already enjoying it, thinking about doing something new, something exciting, something that's significant, actually. And that's about it. Let's get started. We have, let's see, 15 prizes that are selected to be given away today. And if it only takes a minute or two for each of them, this will take maybe about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we can all go home and laugh. So the first thing is the only reason it's the first thing is because it's number one on the top of the page, and that is my donation to this process. As you probably know, I formed an organization back in, I think, 2002. We called the Freedom Force International. And it was back in those days that we did a lot of thinking about why we're here, what we're trying to accomplish, what we believe in, and all that sort of thing. And we came up with something called the Creed of Freedom. And these are the principles that bind all of us together. Now, it's hard to pull together a lot of people who are individualists, as we are. We're not part of the collective group. We don't buy into that anymore. I used to when I was in school, but I'm not there anymore. But how do you tie together all these cats? You can't herd cats. And so what binds us all together if we can't say, well, we're all from the same school, all from the same nation, or we all have the same religion or something? People flock together, as they say, of birds of a feather flock together, and that's true. Nothing wrong with that. It's just the preference of any species. They flock together, including the human species. So, but after flocking together, usually you find out that there's something more than just the species itself, especially when you're dealing with humans. You find out that people like to hang out with those of like mind or similar experiences or similar educational levels or similar hobbies or whatever. A different sense of humor that often divides people. I come up with some of the lousiest jokes sometimes, and my wife says, "That wasn't funny." Well, I thought it was funny. Well, the good news is that we don't ask people to come together in this movement of ours based on their sense of humor or any of these other together. And after a great deal of thought, it occurred that very clearly that the thing that binds us together is what we believe is necessary for us each to lead our individual lives in freedom and not interfere with others doing the same. It's a pretty simple concept. It's just called liberty. It's called a free society where you're free to do whatever you want to do, so long as you don't interfere with the ability of others to do what they want to do. There are limits, and that's the limit. And so we gave a lot of thought to that. And the Creed of Freedom has principles in it. And so the reason I'm mentioning this is because this first prize is a silver coin, a 1 ounce, 0.999% pure silver coin called the Libertatum. And it was designed not only to have something that was pretty to hold in your hand, but something which had real value, could be used as money if necessary, or barter, whatever you want to call it. And what a shame, I thought, is to put this thing out just as another token or coin. What about using the coin itself as a means of expressing the principles that hold us together, the principles in that creed of freedom? It was kind of a task, and it was fun to put it together. So, but that's what we're talking about. It's called the Libertatum, and you saw the picture a moment ago as a picture of the horse. Well, that's just kind of a symbol of the strength and determination of our movement. But we don't have a picture of the reverse side, where there are a lot of symbols, and those symbols we thought would be like teaching or talking points that you could sit down over the dinner table with your kids and say, well, what do you suppose this little symbol means, with the hands that are open and there's a bird flying away and so forth. And so we created this as a teaching device as well as something which might have some economic value, and a thing for collectors. Had a lot of fun doing it, and we printed out, or we minted. The first minting was 1,000 of those coins, and boy, they people snapped them up like crazy. And I managed to hold back. I think it was maybe about 20 or 30 of them for my own use. Well, I've given some of them away to friends, and I probably have hidden a few of them around my house. I don't know where they are, but the last time I counted them, I had 18. So I thought, well, why don't I just donate one of these Libertatums? Now, what makes this one particularly rare is that in the beginning, we put dates on them. And this was 2007, I believe. I have to look at my own notes here. 2007, that was the first minting. And after that, we had another printing with another minting with another date. But then the coins went into hiding, so to speak. We had other things on our minds, and we didn't mint any for quite a while. Just this last year, we began producing them again, but without dates on them. So these original mintings are very valuable to collectors right now, because they're the only ones with a date on them. And of course, they're uncirculated. They're beautiful things. And so that, I thought, I'll donate that. I'm glad to do it, and I hope that whoever wins this beautiful little gem appreciates all the thinking and the work that went in behind it. Maybe we'll get around to putting dates on them again. I don't know. But this is still a rare thing. The last one that I remember selling to somebody that insisted on buying it, we sold it for $250, and that was some years ago. I think it was 2010. And after that, sort of forgot about it. So this is a 2007. It's the first minting. And so that is the prize that we're giving away now. What more can I say about it? It's 0.999 pure. And that's it. I just told you the story. So that is it. So Carlene, do your magic and let the computer select a winner. There we go. Good. Okay, number 3027, please step forward. Well, nobody, unless you've got all those tickets in front of you, you don't know whether you're a winner yet. But fortunately, Carlene has all the numbers aligned up with names and email addresses and so forth. So the winner, if you're not online and are aware of it right now, Carlene, can you give us the name of the winner?
His name is Mark Filer. Mark F.
Mike F. Mark. What was the name?
Last name F. Just F. I didn't put his whole name out there.
Oh, okay. Well, Mark, you're the winner, and you know who you are, and Carlene knows who you are, and she's even got your address. So I hope you're watching and can enjoy being a winner of this prize, and it will be sent to you in the next few days by me. All of these prizes, by the way, will be sent to the winners by the people who donated them. So number one has been awarded. So now we go to number two on the list, and there's no particular listing of these except generally it's the sequence in which they were received and put into the winner's basket here. So now the second one is a box of food source nutrition, and it comes from us from the Richardson Nutrition Center, RNC, and that is run by one of the sons of Dr. John Richardson, who is a good friend of mine. And John was the guy who was really one of the two or three most prominent pioneers in the use and introduction of a substance called amygdalin for the cure of cancer. And the more common name that people might recognize it under is called Laetrile. It has several names. It's a nitrilicide. It's amygdalin. That's the name of the chemical as it's found in nature. And if you want to know more about why we think that's important, I urge you to go online and look it up, or maybe even you want to go to our Reality Zone website and pick up a copy of my book called World Without Cancer, where it explains all about why and how amygdalin or Laetrile is effective, very effective in the control of cancer, much more so than any of the orthodox therapies, which all of them that you'll get in mainstream medicine, all of them have toxic qualities. Amygdalin is not toxic at all. It's a food factor, but it's a very unusual food factor, and it really works. That's all I can say. For more information, you have to do a little research. Anyway, this is the son, John Richardson Jr., who's running the RNC organization, and so he put various combinations of amygdalin. Some are in pill form, and some foods that are rich in natural sources of nitrilicide. And so in this basket that you just saw, we have a bag of apricot seeds. Apricot seeds, by the way, are the most common source of this substance. There's a little story behind that, because most people wonder, well, how come modern societies have higher cancer rates than primitive societies? Well, there's a perfectly good reason for that. It's because the substance that I'm talking about, amygdalin, is bitter to the taste. And primitive societies can't be too fussy about what they eat. And they eat foods that often have a little bitter taste to them. And in modern societies where we're so hoi polloi, we think, oh, the food's got to be sweet, it's got to be processed, it's got to have a long shelf life. And so they put toxic things into it, and they cook it, and they stew it, and they sterilize it, and they do all kinds of things to food. It's amazing when you get into this subject. But amygdalin in this form that John has put forth is in its original source, and he just is making a statement. And he's put this all together, and we try to put a value on this thing. This sells for, I'm my wrong magnifying glass here. My plan has already been disrupted. I have to read this. It's so small. I have to have the magnifying glass on it. Okay. Well, I didn't put any value on. Oh, it's a $55 value on this one. It's got a bag of apricot seeds, a bag of apricot meat, the cancer-free with food book. It's a book that they distribute, and an RNC fancy cup for display, and many more items in the box. So that's prize number two. And so let the box open. 3024. Is that it? That's the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's the new one. Da 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 da. That's clever. 1972. 1972 is the lucky winner. So who is that, Carlene?
I'm scrolling.
She's scrolling down that list. That took some time to line up these names with these numbers, but it was done.
Kathy M.
Kathy M. Kathy M., congratulations. You've won this food source nutrition box. And I'm sure you'll enjoy the taste of it. It's not too bitter in some cases. But by the way, the bitterness you get used to. Um, Pat, my wife, and I tried to take this substance in our daily intake in one form or another, and it's either in food factor forms or in a pill form. And we found out that the apricot seeds by themselves are a very, very good source of amygdalin. And by the way, if you want to know what the tastes like, just bite into an apple seed sometime. Apple seeds are a good source of amygdalin. And that bitter taste, you say, what is this? No wonder nobody eats the seeds. Well, our grandparents and our great grandparents did. And people in primitive societies do. The Hunza Cuts, for example, in northwest Pakistan, up in the mountains there in a remote location, are renowned for their health and their longevity. Most of those people live to be in their 90s or 100 years old or over. And some of those old duffers are playing polo at that age. So they're in good shape. And in that primitive society, I did a little research on this, and I found out that they used apricot seeds as a form of money. It was almost like a dessert to them. Now, it's true that the apricots from Hunza, and we got some of them once, are bitter. They're not quite as bitter as the ones in California. So, but the people in Hunza eat them all the time, and they very rarely, if ever, come down with cancer. When those same people leave Hunza and they go into other countries, go into Pakistan, for example, and go wherever they go and start eating other diets of modern society, so to speak, they come down with cancer like everybody else. But as long as they're in the kingdom of Hunza, the Hunza Cuts do not get cancer. So anyway, that's a little backstory as to why we know that this substance really works. So congratulations, and I hope you live to be 110 years old or longer. And if you don't know how to play polo, you better learn how. So now we go to, here's number 3. Well, this comes from our sister organization. It's The Creature from Jekyll Island. And you'll never guess who wrote that wonderful book. Well, I did. And everybody seems to like, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to like it. And one of our good friends has a granddaughter, and he wanted to give her a book. She's too young to read a book like that, but he wanted her to have the book anyway, so that as she grew older, and this picture, by the way, is probably about a couple of years old now, but he wanted her to have the book, and so that she could get the skinny, so to speak, as she grew up. I was so impressed by that, and she's a darling little girl, and she's so proud of that book. We got a little video of her thanking me for the book. Well, she should have thanked her grandpa. But anyway, I was very happy to see that this book got into such good hands. So now it's a chance for you to win a copy of a hardbound version of Creature from Jekyll Island. They cost a little bit of money, unfortunately, but printers like to get paid for their work. And let's see, we figured the shipping on top of that, everything, it's a $51 value, including shipping from realityzone.com, which is our online bookstore. So the drum roll, Carlene, this is not the last number, is it?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Ta-da. 6811. 6811 is the lucky winner for the autographed copy of Creature from Jekyll Island. I hope whoever wins it, I hope you enjoy reading it. So do we have a name yet?
Jerry T.
Jerry?
Yes.
Jerry T. Okay, Jerry, congratulations. And if you haven't read the book, I hope you enjoy it. And it'll probably be one of the biggest red pills you've ever come across, because, you know, the red pill meme is all about breaking illusions and facing reality. Well, boy, I'll tell you, most people, including myself when I was younger, had great illusions about our money supply, great illusions about the banking industry or the banking profession, whatever you want to call it. I call it a crime syndicate. Well, that may be a little bit extreme, but some people would say it was probably not severe enough. Anyway, This will change your way of thinking about money and about who really runs the government, because you come to conclusion when you face the historical facts that our illusion is that the government here in the United States, at least, and in most other countries, we believed when we were young, and many people still believe, that the governments control the banks. They have rules, regulations, they have laws, and the banks have to apply and obey those laws, or they're in trouble. But the reality turns out to be quite different, that the banks have the ability to create money literally out of nothing. And you know, if you and I had the ability to create money out of nothing, you know what we would do? We would create money out of nothing until the earth was covered with money out of nothing. And that is exactly what happens in every nation, including the US of A is now going through that phase. They're creating so much money so fast that you can hardly see the ground is covered with it. It's all over. And when the money expands that rapidly, much faster than the expansion of goods and services, then the value of the money goes down. We have the illusion of rising prices, right? Oh, the price of a loaf of bread is 3 times what it was when I was only a few years ago. And everybody's complaining about these terrible rising prices. Well, the fact of the matter is the prices are not really rising in terms of value. It's just that the value of the money by which we measure prices, the value of the money is going down because there's so darn much of it out there now. They're just creating it and giving it away and buying politicians and buying healthcare syndicates, and they're buying the news media with all this money, and they're buying loyalties of people. They've got people who would kill for money. And all of a sudden you come to the realization that governments don't control the banks, but the banks control the governments. And that story comes forth in this book. And it's a real eye-opener. It's a real big red pill. So now let's go to number 4. Well, here we are. Oh, we're back to Reality Zone again. Good old Reality Zone. Well, I asked Carlene, what can we give other than the autographed book of Creature from Jekyll Island? And she said, well, why don't we just give some credit coupons away? We'll jack up the price. We'll give away $75 worth of credit toward the Red Pill, or any type of book or video that's available in the realityzone.com bookstore. And it's so you got $75. So there you have it. And what more can I say? So the only thing is to find out who won. And this is the number coming up. 1846. 1846. Sounds like it's a historic moment. Something big must have happened in 1846, but I don't know what it was. But we do know what happened in 2024. Somebody just won $75 of value at the bookstore, Reality Zone. So who is the winner?
G.
Who is it?
Sean G.
Sean Z.
G.
G as in George?
Yep.
Okay, Sean G. And so congratulations, Sean. I hope you have a lot of good bedtime reading, but I would advise most of the stuff that comes out of realityzone.com is not good bedtime reading, because it'll keep you awake after you realize the severity and the shocking nature of the topics that you've just learned in these books and recordings. So that's it. Congratulations and enjoy. Now, the next one, okay, here's another one from Reality Zone. We got to put a stop on this, Carlene. We're giving away too much stuff here. No, I'm kidding. We're glad to be able to do this. And here are 4 of our best-selling books, and they're all relating to this topic of cancer. World Without Cancer, up there in the top left corner, is, of course, my book that I wrote when I encountered John Richardson Sr., who I mentioned a moment ago, who was a physician in the San Francisco area, who was a pioneer in the use of amygdalin or Laetrile in treating cancer in his practice. And we were friends before we got into this cancer issue, or before I got into the cancer issue. And one day, Dr. John asked me if I would help him write an article for a magazine or newspapers on cancer research. And I said, "You got to be kidding. I don't know anything about that." He said, "Well, you don't have to know anything about cancer research. I want you to talk about the fact that the doctors like me who have found a treatment for cancer outside of pharmacopoeia, outside of the pharmacy industry. We found a treatment that works a lot better, and they want to take away our license for using it. That's what I want you to write about, and you don't have to know about cancer." So I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll help you out." And I never dreamed, I never dreamed how much voltage was in the wire I was about to grab hold of. When I dug into there and I found out that here was another red pill, I used to think that the medical profession was driven by purely humanitarian motives. It never dawned on me that money might be a factor more important than health in this distribution of health care. But I found out to the contrary, that back in the day, whatever that means, but back in the day of perhaps my grandfather or my father at least, uh, for sure, there were a lot of doctors around that I was aware of who treated patients for free. They often would say, "Well, you don't have any money, but I'll treat you. If you got an extra chicken or something, send it over." And I understood that many in the medical profession in those days, many doctors had budgeted maybe as much as 30 or 40% of their healthcare treatment for those who could not afford it. And it was truly a humanitarian effort. And they were concerned about learning secrets that maybe had been passed down by some other culture, or some wacko that was off the beaten track and discovered something that nobody had thought about. They were looking for ways to cure cancer. Nowadays, the whole goal of the medical profession is not to cure anything, because if you cure a disease, you just lost a customer in the medical profession. That's how they look at it now, really. And I used to be embarrassed to say that, but now I think it's pretty obvious. People do know that the medical profession is based not on curing, but on treating. So if they get you in their clasp, they'll line you up with tests and treatments and therapies and so forth to keep you coming back with your checkbook for the rest of your life. And they don't want to cure you of anything. And maybe they don't think this all the way through, but that's what I discovered when I got into this study. And so this is what you'll be discovering when you read World Without Cancer. Now, the other book, Alive and Well, was written by Dr. Phil Binzel. And that's an interesting story too. Maybe I'm taking too long on all this, but I think you might enjoy the background a little bit. But Dr. Binzel, I knew also in some of the more political activities I was involved in. We were conducting a youth camp where they were teaching principles of liberty and principles of the American Constitution and so forth. And I'd been asked to speak there. And when I got there, I met Dr. Binzel, who was volunteering to be the camp physician. And so we got to be friends. Well, when I started to write World Without Cancer, and I sent a draft of my book to Phil Binzel to pick it out, pick it over and see if he thought I was on the right track or on the wrong track or whatever. And I'll never forget the day when he called me on the phone. He said, "Ed, I'm calling you as a friend." He said, "I just have to tell you that you're in over your head. You're going to make a fool of yourself. You don't understand the complexity of cancer." He said, "I'm a doctor. I've been trained in this, and you're gonna ruin your reputation if you go ahead with this project." I was crushed. I thought, "Oh my gosh, that had the ring of truth to it," because I had no background in this at all, any more than I had background in banking. The right track because of the men like Dr. Richardson and Dr. Ernst T. Krebs Jr., who was the originator of this whole idea, and other researchers who really presented to me what appeared to be an airtight scientific case on how and why amygdalin was working to control cancer. But Dr. Binzel said, no, no, you're in over your head. I advise you as a friend, just back away from it. Well, I suffered over that for probably a month or two. And I decided to go ahead anyway. And then one of the reasons that I did is because I discovered that the science of cancer therapy, in my mind at least, was a lot simpler than the politics of cancer therapy. I never realized that there was this difference that I was mentioning a moment ago. And as long as people didn't understand the politics of cancer therapy, and that's what the second half of the book is all about the origin of the pharmaceutical industry and all of that. And that deals with money and so forth. As long as people didn't understand that, I'd already discovered that people would say to me, well, Ed, if this is true, what you say, how come my doctor doesn't know about it? Well, unless you can answer that question, you lose the battle because it just doesn't make sense. Surely the doctors would know about it, wouldn't they? Unless, of course, the doctors all graduated from schools that were funded by the pharmaceutical industry and the curriculum was determined ahead of time. Then you realize that, oh, well, the doctors learned what they were taught and they believed that they were getting good information. So that the doctors themselves, in most cases, were victims just as much as cancer victims. So I decided to plunge ahead and I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to make a fool of myself. But it turned out a month or two after the book was published, I got a call from Dr. Binzel. He said, Ed, I apologize for what I said. He said, I started to tinker around with these things you were writing about, and I found out it works. I thought, oh my gosh, that's wonderful news. I thought you were going to tell me I made a fool of myself. No, he said, no, it really works. And now I understand why. And he said, you were at an advantage over me because you had to learn a whole new field. But for me, not only did I have to learn a whole new field of knowledge, but I had to unlearn what I'd been taught in medical school. And so he began to treat his patients with amygdalin or Laetrile and have the same kind of amazing positive results that Dr. Richardson did. And eventually he said, I'd like to write a book on that topic. I said, bingo, let's you write the book and I'll publish it. How's that? So Alive and Well is the story of Dr. Binzel's discovery of amygdalin and his experience against the medical establishment in order to continue practicing and saving lives. So I'm taking too long to tell these stories, but these are rich stories and they're red pills, all of them. Now, Laetrile case histories is another one. My wife, Pat, is a registered nurse. And when she had a similar transition, had to go through, had to unlearn a lot of things that she had been taught in nursing school. But when she unlearned it and learned the new science and began to see the actual results of these cancer patients as they were treated by the Richardson Cancer Clinic, she made a complete turnaround and she joined forces with Dr. Richardson, and jointly they wrote a book called Laetrile Case Histories. And she spent several months at the doctor's office, John Richardson's office, pulling out the files of all these cancer patients he had treated and put them together in this book. Some of the most severe cancer cases you could possibly imagine. Almost all of them were told that there was no hope. They tried chemotherapy, they tried surgery, they tried radiation. Sorry, madam, we cannot cure your cancer. Our advice to you is to get your affairs in order and say goodbye to your family and other loved ones. And almost all of the cancer patients came to this clinic in that condition. Some of them couldn't even walk. They had to be carried in. And this is the story of their amazing return to health using Laetrile as the treatment for cancer. And years later, Pat was able to go because of her experience in genealogy and research and all that. She could find some of these patients who had been treated with Laetrile years ago, and their terminal cancer was gone. And here it is 20, 30 years later, and they're still living, most of them. And those that had died, we were able to find out, or Pat was able to find out, that they had lived a normal life, and they died of other things mostly. And the few that died of cancer did not keep up with their diet and their protocol that Dr. Richardson had recommended. So this is that story, and it's a gripping story to see all these patients who were told they had a few more weeks or a month to live, and here they are playing golf and having children and raising a family and enjoying life. And it's a truly inspirational book to read. And finally, the last one, The Little Cyanide Cookbook. Well, that needs some explanation. Why a cyanide cookbook? Well, one of the arguments that Orthodox medicine tried to use and still tries to use against anybody using Laetrile for the treatment of cancer is the fact that Laetrile has cyanide in it. Now, cyanide, why would anybody eat a food like an apricot seed or an apple seed or anything else if it has cyanide in it? Oh, that's crazy, man. This is quackery. And well, it turns out that it's not crazy and it's not quackery because cyanide is a gas. Okay? Pure cyanide is a gas. And in that form, it's very, very toxic. They kill people with cyanide. It's part of an execution process in some prisons where the death penalty is allowed. And so how come this cancer cure or treatment has cyanide in it? Well, I had to learn a bit about chemistry, and I found out that, as I said, cyanide is a gas, so that's not in the food. Well, what's in the food? Well, it's cyanide combined in a molecule with something else. So, water isn't hydrogen. Water isn't oxygen. It's hydrogen and oxygen, and so that's a whole different thing than oxygen or hydrogen. And cyanide is common in food, but it's in combination with other elements, other chemistry. And for example, vitamin B12, which we need to live, has a name, and it's cyanocobalamin. Okay, what does that tell you? Oh, it's got cyanide in it. We'd be dead without cyanide in our food in a combination with something else. And that happens to be what happens in Laetrile, the cyanide in combination with something else. And in that form, it's very anti-cancer acting. And it cures a lot of other things besides, or helps ameliorate them. So that was the story behind that. The Little Cyanide Cookbook was written by a nutritionist, June Despain, who spent her life as a professional nutritionist. And she took it upon herself to run down all the natural foods that you can get and normally fix into a good meal. And so I thought, that's great. Let's put a book out, a cookbook on that. Great idea. And Pat, as usual, comes up with all these bright ideas. She said, well, yeah, that would be a Little Cyanide Cookbook, wouldn't it? It was in jest. And we just stopped and said, Little Cyanide Cookbook. That's a good title for it. So that's a tongue in cheek. And believe me, when you read those recipes, you'll see that there's some very tasty stuff there and very, very, very good for you. So that's it. Let's find out who's going to read all these great books on cancer. All right. The envelope, please. 4583. 4583. Who is the winner?
That looks like Jonathan J.
Jonathan J. Jonathan J. Well, I might know who that is, but I'm not going to guess.
No, it's not who you
No, you know it's not who I think it is. Okay. Well, Jonathan J. is the winner. Jonathan, wherever you are, whoever you are, thanks for helping us. Thanks for being part of our team. And congratulations. And I urge you to read those books. I know once you start, you're going to have trouble putting them down. And maybe you too can live to be 110 and play polo. All right, now we go to number 6. Oh, this is a honey. A very good friend of ours in the health movement and in the liberty movement is, well, what can I say about this guy? He's on our board of directors and everything. Jason Stinchfield donated this ring. Now, this ring is handcrafted. It's made from a U.S. silver coin. Now, he makes them from all kinds of coins. they're custom made by him. He'll take a coin, and the way he treats it and hammers on it and twists it and molds it, it can turn any coin into a ring, believe it or not. He made one for me. It's a gorgeous thing. And they sell at a hefty price. See if I can see the normal range. I think I put it in here. Yeah, he sells these things at between $350 to $500 each, depending on what coin is selected. And of course, if you're a big husky guy with big hands, you need to get to a larger coin. But if you're a dainty little gal, you might go to a smaller coin. And so that all has an effect. And this particular one is a $50 silver coin. And if the winner happens to be a woman and this is too big, Jason says he'll make one just for her and for her size. So congratulations to the winner, but who is the winner now? Okay. $3,386. And the name, please. Ta-da. Carlene, next time we do this, shall we get a little sound effect of a drum roll?
Oh.
Well, that'd be pretty corny, wouldn't it?
John Ray.
John Ray is the winner of this coin. Congratulations, John. You got a real prize here. And you'll be able to show that thing off. And if worse comes to shove and things get tough, you can always melt the bloody thing down and you've got half an ounce of silver. Congratulations, and thank you for participating. Okay, now number 7. Now we're back to the health world. This is a collection of 3 different, I guess you call them nutritional supplements, but again, they're found from nature. They're found in nature. It's not copied after nature. They are natural substances. This is a big difference, by the way, between good nutrition and pharmaceutical drugs. I guess my number, I feel safe on it, but I'm going to say that with all of the thousands and thousands of pharmaceutical drugs that are available on the market, I don't know how many thousand. Pat has this big, thick book on drugs that are available, the nurse's handbook or something like that, and all the drugs that are on the market are listed there. The paper is so thin, I think it's got 800 pages or more. There must be, I don't know, many thousands of these drugs. Looking through them all, if you look at the side effects, you find that I'm going to say 99% of them are toxic, and some of them are very toxic, and some of them are deadly toxic. Whereas nutritional substances from nature generally are not toxic. Now, you can find there are certain mushrooms and certain plants you don't want to eat, but they're rare. And most of the things that we would call herbs or just regular plants. I mean, I understand the dandelions are very healthy for you. They're kind of bitter to the taste. And I've often wondered, I'll bet there's amygdalin in those bloodied dandelions. Anyway, here's a company or a guy that has produced these things. He calls it Folium. He first came online here. I met him at a conference, a health conference, and oh, come on, Pat, I can't think of Bobre Oren is his name. Yeah, almost lost his name. Bobre is a good friend of ours, and over the years, and he was born in Georgia, not Georgia the state, but Georgia the country, up near Ukraine and Russia and so forth. And he came across this substance after Chernobyl, and he discovered that there were people in that area that were using this substance, which basically comes from tree barks and things like that. I think it's the pine sap and a combination of natural things. They were using this to ameliorate the radiation that people received who were living close to Chernobyl, and they had an amazingly high cure rate or success rate of getting rid of their the radioactive toxicity. So he called it PX, and he began selling it for those who were interested. And it turned out I met Bobry, as I say, at a conference. But later on, another friend of mine, a doctor, started to use this in the treatment of all kinds of radiation sicknesses because he found that it was removing heavy metals from the bloodstream. And so this thing called Folium PX took off, and it really did. And I had a gal working for me as an assistant, my office manager way back, who had a great deal of high radiation in her system because she had the unfortunate experience of daily taking walks through an area in Southern California, not too far from here, which was located downwind from the first experimental nuclear reactor. Nobody knew it was up there at the time. And it was spewing radiation all over the place. And they didn't know much about radiation at that time. They thought, oh, well, it's in the air, let it go. And but it settled into the dirt and in the air all around this area that she would go hiking in, beautiful country, remote, not realizing that she was absorbing a tremendous amount of radioactive dust. And it really was a life-threatening experience for her. And she couldn't get rid of the heavy metal toxic load. The short story on all this is that this doctor friend of mine recommended that she try Folium PX. He took a blood test and a hair analysis of the amount of uranium and plutonium, whatever else was in all this stuff in her body. He took a reading on that before she started the treatment, and then another reading 2 or 3 months later, and the stuff was practically gone. So there was a firsthand experience right here in our little shop. And so this stuff really works. And since then, he's added a couple of more items to his line. He calls it all Folium. But anyway, here they are, and they're great. And they're being used very successfully in the treatment of lung, heart, kidney diseases and all that kind of thing. And so Bobry was generous enough to donate a bottle of each of his 3 products, and that's a $314 value, including shipping. It's expensive stuff, but it's a lot cheaper than the orthodox therapies that are normally available. And I won't say anything about that. I'll just say that this stuff works. And for $314, it's for all 3 of these, it's a bargain. So who is the lucky winner of the Folium box? $5192. 5192 is the lucky winner. And who might that be?
Steve B.
Who be?
Stephen B is in boy.
Okay. Stephen B is in boy. Stephen, you lucky son of a gun. You're going to be free of any toxic radiation if you take this stuff. And congratulations. And thanks for helping us out. Okay. Now, here we are back to the Libertatum again. The picture is the same, except if you look carefully at it, you'll notice that there's no date at the bottom. This is the new minting that is being done for us by First National Bullion, and they're going like hotcakes, I'm told. And so it's the same silver content as the original Libertatum, has the same educational markings and symbols on the back. So it's exactly the same coin, except that it has no date. And of course, it's not quite as expensive as the collector's item, but it is specified here. Where did we put a price on it? No, I didn't put a price on it. Well, whatever silver is going for, I guess, today, and that's what it's worth. And I believe that this too will be a collector's item, even though it doesn't have a date on it. So congratulations, Stephen, and thanks again for helping us.
No, Stephen didn't win that.
Oh, Steve.
We're going to draw 6 new people for those coins.
Oh, I didn't call for the winner on this one, did I?
No.
Oh, what do you have for memory? Any drugs for memory? Okay, who won the silver libertatum?
There's 6 of them.
Oh,
We
see.
have draw 6 names.
Oh, boy, I missed a major point there. Yes, indeed. Not just one coin, but there are 6 of them. And each, does that mean we had to draw 6 names?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go through that. Yeah, there's 6 winners on this one. All right. So who's the second? Who's the first winner?
First one is actually name is Stephen as well,
Uh-huh.
but it's with Stephen P.
Okay, Stephen P is in Paul.
No number given.
And
Yeah, new number
now-
18. No, this is, well, wait a minute.
This is 802.
Uh-huh.
Now we're looking for whoever is number 649.
649. All right. Okay.
And give me 1 second. We're scrolling. It's a lot of scrolling to do. 6, what was the number?
649.
That is Barbara K.
Barbara K. You just won yourself a silver libertatum. Congratulations.
That's 2.
And don't spend it. Hang on to it.
Number
728. 728.
3, Ari G.
Ari G. Okay. Another winner.
Okay, that's number 3.
Five, 991. 5991.
Okay. That is Leon D.
Leon D. Did you say
Yes.
is like in dog?
Yes.
Leon D. Congratulations, Leon.
Okay. Number 5. Are you gonna read it?
3166 is the winner. 3166.
Treva L.
Treva,
Yes.
Treva L. Treva L is a winner of the silver libertatum.
Okay. And last, Libertatum goes to
2049 2049.
that is going to be Virginia N.
Virginia M, as in mother.
Yes.
Okay, 6 winners. Thank you, First National Bullion, for that. Great coins, great value, and great message on the back. All right, now we move over to more books and some vitamins, all mixed together here. 2 books by Michelle Melendez. Now, Michelle was one of our speakers at the last expo. If you remember, she spoke on the great land grab in Hawaii and the grim common characteristics of these unexplained mystical wildfires that sweep through Northern California and other places around the world. And Hawaii, she was right there on the hot spot. These fires that would melt cars, melt glass, but leave trees standing next to them unburned, baked but unburned. They were probably dead because of the heat, but they didn't burn. And that is a sort of an impossibility if you're thinking in terms of normal fire characteristics. And also other strange things, like the fact that the politicians in Hawaii there were planning on confiscating or taking over the land that was destroyed by these fires and converting them into smart cities, things like that. But the people wouldn't sell. So now, how convenient. We have a fire and there's not much to sell. So the government steps in and saves the day by offering them pennies on the dollar, and they got their smart city underway. And so that kind of stuff. And the floods too. Now they had, floods, same thing, same strange characteristics. And she's written about that and the land grab, and she's written this book, she End Dieting Hell. She started off in her career as a sort of a counselor on diet control and healthy living, and then sort of was in the middle of all these strange fires and floods. So she's now got two topics, and she's provided some. Let's see, she's here. It's turmeric, black turmeric, a 2-ounce bottle of black turmeric, and we know that stuff is good for you, and that's good for pain relief and anti-inflammatory conditions. And then there's a boosting tincture and toothache remedy. Anyway, it's a $95 value with shipping from blossominnerwellness.com. And that means it's from Michelle Melendez. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you now for the winner of this. And it's no, that's the old one. Okay. 6672. 6672.
I'm almost there. Michael B.
Michael B is 6672. Congratulations, Michael. I don't think you're going to have any toothaches or any inflammatory conditions, and stay away from these phony fires and floods. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That takes care of the 6 plus 5. Anyway, you keep count. I can move on to the next prize. Oh, well, I just added this myself a couple of days ago. We finally got to the point where we have designed and printed a mock-up of the box or the container, the package that holds the thumb drive for the Red Pill Expo that we just had last month. Everybody's working feverishly to get the artwork done and to get the thumb drives mass produced and get the programs edited so you can view the speakers at the expo one by one. You can pick out which one you want in what order, rather than having to watch the whole recording of the whole session or the whole day, which has been temporarily the case. So this is all packaged now and ready to go, and these will be put up for sale at a very good discount for those who attended, who signed up for the expo. And so you see a picture of it there, the Red Pill Expo 2024 November. And oh, we don't have. Oh, don't. Anyway, it's on my desk. I'll hold it up. There it is. There it is. This is what it looks like. I guess it reads correctly because I'm looking at the mirrored version. Anyway, these are all the speakers, and you open it up. You see, there's a little package. It holds the thumb drive. By the way, we just got the first thumb drive in today with the Red Pill Expo mark on it, and it's a clever little thing. I'll give you a little instruction on how to use it. I've never seen one like this before. I'm trying to make this thing go in and out. It's not going in and out. What's wrong with it? Well, you have to twist it, and it goes in and out. I've never seen this before. It's clever. But it's got our name on it, and it's got the whole expo on it, plus 4, I should say, videos, 4 winners from the Red Pill Film Festival. So those alone are just tremendous programs, and each of them runs, let's say, on an average of about an hour long. So this little thumb drive, it's a miracle, I would say, how they can get so much stuff on this, and it's high quality. It's all high res video, so it's a great value. And so the winner now is going to get one of these, and even so, it's a $92 value, including shipping from Reality Zone again. All right. Well, it's a good thing we have friends at Reality Zone. All right, now there's the winner, 2637. 2637 wins the Red Pill Expo album, and Black Mag.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a pseudonym to me, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. Well, whoever you are, Black Mag, thank you for participating in our project, and congratulations on winning. You probably have the first copy of this Red Pill Expo album for November of 2024. Enjoy. It's really a powerhouse. Okay, now we go to the next one. And there's this picture. Well, Cardio Miracle. It's an all-in-one supplement. Well, it certainly is. John Hewlett is another member of our board of directors, and he runs this company that produces Cardio Miracle. And he comes from a successful background in insurance, a super insurance guy. And but he got a strong interest in nutrition some time back. I think it had something to do with his personal health and the health of somebody in his family. So he started looking at this thing called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a substance that's, I think it's a gas too. It's produced by the body. So how do you take a supplement that's a gas and it's produced by the body? And well, the answer is simple if you know what you're talking about. And that is you don't. What you do is you give the body the precursors, the natural substances from nature, again, not from a test tube, but natural substances from nature that the body uses to make nitric oxide. And those natural substances that we normally produce in our own bodies deteriorate. They lower in their productivity as you grow older. So that's one of the reasons, one of many reasons, that people as they get older tend to be more prone to illnesses, because the natural resistance to illness is gradually wearing out. So what a great idea to see if these precursors, these things that are found in nature that we might call nutrients, some of which we don't recognize as nutrients, but they're there in the plants anyway. If we could add those to the body and see if that didn't pick up the production of nitric oxide. And sure enough, it does. And the first problem with it was that it didn't last very long. It would last maybe a half a day, and then it would peter out and you'd be back to where you were again. Well, it's good to have that temporary relief of whatever nitric oxide does. And I'll pause there for a moment and tell you what it does. Nitric oxide is the component in our natural system that allows all the blood vessels to be flexible and expand and contract under conditions that demand expansion or contraction and so forth. And it's one of the reasons that you lower your capability to produce nitric oxide with age, then your arteries and so your circular system tends to get stiff and it doesn't respond, open and contract, and you have illnesses because of that. And sometimes the blood vessels themselves rupture. And of course, the body then rushes to cover those little ruptures so you don't bleed to death. They cover it with, are you ready for this? Cholesterol. And so cholesterol is not the bad guy after all. It's if you didn't have cholesterol going there to patch up all those little holes that are being developed by inadequate nitric oxide and other things, why, you're in trouble. So anyway, John got into all of this and became what I consider to be a world expert on these things. He's able to talk right eyeball to eyeball with the top scientists in this field. And he developed this product called Cardio Miracle. And it's nothing but natural food components, some of which are pretty rare and some things you've never heard about, but they're all in this product. And I'm here to tell you it works. And I can say that with great authority because it wasn't, I guess it was 10 years ago, thereabouts. I had high blood pressure and I was having a devil of a time. Doctors were always advising I take some kind of a toxic drug. What is that most common, Pat? The statins, I think is, yeah, statins. And that's what they recommend, statin. Well, it does lower blood pressure. It also ruins your brain and a few other things. They're toxic, see? They do one thing that's good and then they do 10 things that are bad. That's the story. So anyway, I ran into this product and John Hewlett said, why don't you take some? He gave me a package of it. Said, see if it doesn't lower your blood pressure. Well, it did. and I didn't take a statin. It lowered my blood pressure and had no negative side effects and had some strong positive effects other than lowered blood pressure. So I became a convert. I don't often, really promote or compliment a particular product unless I have personal experience with it. Well, I sure had personal experience with this. So I've been a fan of and a regular devotee. I take it almost every day. I should take it every day, and sometimes I do, but almost every day. And I've got the blood pressure of a young guy. I mean, I may have other problems, but my blood pressure is not one of them. So John has donated quite a bundle here of nitric oxide producing Cardio Miracle, and there it is. Oh, by the way, it's a powder. It's a ground up substance, and you put it in water. And blow me down, it tastes good. I'm used to thinking, oh, if it's medicine, if it's good for you, it tastes terrible. Well, that's because most of these things come from a test tube and they're not meant to taste good. But this comes from nature. It tastes really good. And it works in all kinds of conditions. I won't go into all of that. But John was good enough to send us let's see, we've got, I'll tell a little bit about my story here. Anyway, you got a couple of big packages of this product. It's a $260 value, including shipping from cardiomiracle.com. And that means John Hewlett. Thank you, John, for doing that. And now we find out who the lucky person is that's going to live to be 110 and play polo. $3773. 3773. And the winner?
Paula K.
Paula?
Yes.
K as in Kate?
Yep.
Paula K is the winner. Cardio Miracle. Paula, I don't know if you have high blood pressure or other things like that, but whatever they are, if you take this product that you just won, I am here to tell you that I would bet the farm that anything that's related to improved circulation because of flexible arteries is going to improve from it. So enjoy it and be healthy. Thank you. All right. 2 books by Alex Newman, The Deep State and The Deep State Exposed, let's get it correctly, and Introducing Indoctrinating, thank you, Indoctrinating Our Children to Death. Well, Alex Newman is a journalist, is a great reporter. He travels around the country. He's lived in, 4 or 5 different countries by now, and he's learned a lot. And he's one of the sharpest minds I've ever run into. He's been a regular speaker at all of our Red Pill Expos, and the only complaint I've ever heard is that he talks so fast that you have to stay awake. He really rolls through the information, but believe me, he does his research very, very well. And so he's done a lot of work on indoctrination that happens in the government school systems, and that is another red pill to be sure. I used to think that you went to school for an education. I didn't dream that the real purpose of government schools is not education. It's indoctrination. And they're more interested in your social attitudes and your political views than they are with your health or your ability to do math or write a language that you know, or to think straight and so forth. But so he's written these 2 great books. I've read them both, and they're very hot books, I would say. So thank you, Alex, for doing this. And now, who is the winner? $3002. 3002 is the winner.
Peggy S.
S is in Sam?
Yes.
Peggy S. Peggy S. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you're in for a good read. Don't read these books at bedtime. Make sure you have a cup of coffee and away you go. And guarantee you, if this is new information to you, it will change the way you view the world. So thank you, Alex, and thank you, Peggy. Now, here's one, detox. Now, who in my youth, if I can remember back that far, we never talked about detox. I'm sure probably the old ladies did, but as a young guy, we never worried about detox. We were more concerned about toxing ourselves. We would go out and would drink things and eat things that just would prove that we're a man. We can take it, and we did because we were young. But anyway, in our modern day, we have so much more toxicity without having to be foolish about it. If you just go out and breathe your air, you're getting toxic chemicals that are being sprayed in the air. Believe it or not, you are. If you drink the water, you'll find out, oh my gosh, what did they put in the water? Well, that stuff has been illegal to even be around. You have to wear a hazmat outfit to even be around these chemicals, and they're putting it in your water and so forth. And look what's in our food, all these chemicals that make it last longer or taste better or give it a better color or whatever. These things are toxic. And so the word detox has become more of a common expression in our present era. But most people don't know what to do about it. Well, this is a substance that is a good start, and it has a great reputation, and I'm glad to see it on our list here. It's got 150 homeopathic and chelation remedies that are rare in a plasma energy state. Now that brings up a lot of questions as to what is a plasma energy state. We don't have time to go into that, and I'm not the person to talk about it anyway, but it has to do with energy. It's not chemical. Plasma is energy. And increasingly, I've become convinced that the future of medicine is going to be more, effective medicine, not what we've got today, but effective medicine that cures and not just treats. I think the future of that is going to be, if it not already is, an energy medicine, and rather than chemicals, because the chemicals have got to come from nature, or chances are they're going to be toxic. So the trick with the energy medicine is to learn and understand how frequencies of energy affect the biological functions in our body. I was amazed to discover some years ago, by some of the books that I was reading, that we are electrical creatures. I always thought it was chemistry, but even the chemistry, if you look at it carefully enough, is based on energy, or it's based on frequencies. It's based on something other than just physical substances or chemical combinations. It's what are the energy frequencies in your body? And I understand, again, I'm not the expert to talk about it, but I understand that each of us has a unique frequency for our whole selves, and each of our organs has a different frequency. And if you can understand those frequencies and know which ones are healing and which ones are harming or which ones are toxic, you're on the path to a new kind of treatment, a new kind of a medicine. And so this is basically based on that. And I think, if I understand this correctly, we're talking about a little vial that looks like it might be filled with water. What a ripoff, huh? They put a little bit of water in a bottle and talk it up and say, here, this is expensive stuff, Well, I'm sure people have done that, but this is not the case here. It is possible, I am convinced now from what I've seen, that you can induce almost any physical thing to take on a frequency which is not normal to its structure. And if you're exposed to frequencies, toxic frequencies, there's a tendency for those frequencies to transmit themselves into your body and cause your organs to resonate, I guess is the word, at a frequency which is not healthy. And I think one of the elements, or one of the objectives of frequency medicine, or this plasma energy state, as they call it here, is to determine which frequencies are best for which organs, and expose your body to those frequencies. And one of the ways to do it is just to be next to it. Now, I have to, I know nobody's expecting all of this from me, but when I talk about these things, so many things flood into my mind. I can't ignore all of them. I remember years and years ago, an inventor friend of mine, which was trying to teach some of this to me. And he was a guy that invented, well, it was a procedure that he sold to he said he sold to the oil companies. And by putting an electrical charge and a frequency on the pipes that were handling the oil over long distances, and putting the same charge on the oil, that they would tend to repel each other. And okay, so they repel each other. So what? What's the big deal? I asked. He said, well, the big deal is that one of the biggest expenses the oil companies have is pumping that oil over miles and miles and miles of pipe, and there's friction in there. And if you can cause the pipe and the oil to repel each other even a little bit, you greatly reduce the friction, and you don't need so much pumping power anymore. And you can pump with the same pump, you can pump it 2 or 3 or 4 times further. Oh, I get it. So it was starting with that kind of an awareness that the world is full of electricity and frequencies and energy that I never really envisioned before, and they're fundamental in how we work in our bodies. He said most people. This is the same guy. He said, I'll bet you think that the heart pumps your blood, don't you? I said, duh, of course it does. You mean it doesn't? He said, well, not really. He said, it pumps, but that doesn't pump it through your body. He said, you've got hundreds of miles of veins and arteries in your body, and that little heart isn't going to pump all that blood through all of that hundreds of miles of piping. He said, you've got electrical charges and frequencies going on in your body, and your heart is as much involved with those as it is with the physical contractions of pumping. Oh, really? Well, okay. Much to learn. That's all. I guess that's my message here. There's much to learn about this. And so when I see somebody that talks about plasma energy state, I take it seriously because of all of these experiences. The people that I've talked to who have used this detox say that it works for them, and I have no reason to doubt it. I haven't tried it myself, but anyway, we have a bottle now, and I'm going to try it, and hopefully I don't have too much to detox, but probably have more than I think. So anyway, whatever it is, here it is, and it's a $80 value for this little bottle of, looks like water, and it probably is, but it's got a frequency in it, and this is what you want. So this is donated by plasmaenergysolution.com, and I'm anxious to hear whoever wins this, let me know what they think. So here comes the winner. 4624 4624. And the winner's name is
L. Shaw.
Alice.
Log. I can't pronounce it.
Well, spell it.
Lavoie.
Lavoie.
S.
Lavoie. S as in Sam?
Yes.
Okay, Lavoie S. Well, maybe we're not getting the name pronounced correctly, but we've got it written down and we've got the email. So whoever you are, Lavoie, and if we messed up pronouncing your name, I apologize, but you get the vial, and I'm sure you will be detoxed. And I would really like to know your experience. So thank you for that. Okay, we're coming close to the end here. 2 more books, all right, by Dr. Layla Ali. Now, there's another Layla Ali out there, but this is not the one who's the daughter of the boxer. This gal is a doctor of pharmacology, and she's a pharmacist, I should say, and she's a doctor, and she believed in her craft when she went to school and learned it. She learned all these things which she had to unlearn later, and she worked as a pharmacist. But her experience in seeing these patients coming in to her shop over and over again and taking all these drugs that she was manufacturing and concocting right there for them. And she saw these patients coming back and not being cured of anything, but developing side effects of everything and having to have more and more drugs and more drugs to fix the problems caused by the previous drugs. And it got her suspicious that there's something very wrong going on in her profession. And so she started to ask questions. And that's something that's very dangerous in this world today. She asked questions and she started to do her own independent research and discovered she was on the wrong track. So she has become quite an expert on natural therapies and even attitudes and mindsets can make a strong difference in your immune system. If you're under stress or if you're in anger, your immune system is put on hold or goes downhill. And so people who are under stress, it's well known they have more illnesses than those who live in peace and harmony. So all of that caused her to re-examine her profession as a pharmacist. And now she's gone completely off the rails, as they might say, and she's on what I consider to be the side of logic and science. And she's written some books about them, and here they are. And one is Off Balance, The American Way of Health, and the other one is the So You've Been Diagnosed with Cancer and Now You're in a Panic Handbook. Okay. And from my conversation with her and from her presentation that she made at our last Red Pill Expo, I think Layla is on the right track, not off the rails at all. So the winner is going to get some real good information, and the winner is 2194. 2194. Hold on.
Carol S.
S is in Sam?
Yes.
Carol S. 2194. Carol S. wins the 2 books from Dr. Layla Ali.
She gave us 3 to give away.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. We got 2 more winners for this same collection. All right. Next one is 6503. 6503.
That is Gerson Institute.
The Gerson Institute. Oh my gosh. Well, those people know all about this. The Gerson Institute is named after Dr. Gerson and his daughter. I've forgotten her first name, but after Dr. Gerson died, his daughter took over a clinic that they had in operation just south of the border because they wouldn't allow teaching this kind of nutrition in the United States. They called it quackery, So they ran a Gerson clinic down there for many years, and people came from all around the world. And much like the trek that went to see Dr. Richardson, once they hear that somebody has a therapy that really cures and not just treats, people started talking about it, and the Gerson clinic had all kinds. They had thousands and thousands of people coming from around the world to be treated primarily through diet, no chemistry, very few pills, but mostly just diet. And what they were doing, as far as I could see, is finding the foods that contain all of these substances that we're talking about. And it wasn't hard. The main thing was just to avoid processed foods and don't overcook it, and make sure that they're not loaded with extra chemicals for preservation or taste or something else. Anyway, so that's the Gerson Institute. Well, congratulations, and I'm glad to hear you won. All right, and the last one is 5088 5088. Coming up.
Omar F.
Another S as in Sam.
Frank.
Oh, F is in Frank. Okay. Omar Frank. Omar Frank. Congratulations.
F as in Frank.
F as in Frank, yeah. Okay, Omar, you will no longer be off balance, and you don't have to worry about cancer. So I don't mean to be flippant about that, but there's a lot of truth in that. So thank you for donating these books, and congratulations to the winners. And finally, the last one, I really don't have a explanation yet of what is in this collection of bottles that you see on screen, except copper. Okay. Well, there's silver too, copper and silver. And I think it's self-explanatory. I remember as a younger guy, notice I didn't say young, I said as a younger guy, I remember that people would wear copper bracelets if they had arthritis. And I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard of. It was like voodoo medicine as far as I was concerned. These people running around with copper bracelets. But they all said it helped their arthritis and rheumatism and all that stuff. I thought, yeah, sure. It's power of positive thinking. Now we find out from one of our speakers at the last expo that copper, well, we know about silver, I'll come back to that, but copper is the overlooked metal that we need in our bodies. And the medical establishment has been telling us for years that we've got to get rid of the copper because it's toxic, and we've got to supplement iron. Everybody needs more iron, they say. Well, it turns out, as we're told, and it's still subject for confirmation, but I believe it's true, that copper is a mediator of many other elements that don't operate by themselves, but they have to be in combination with something else to create the right conditions for the body to use it. And copper is the missing element. And that's why they're trying to steer us away from copper, because you can't get well without copper. You can't be well without a certain amount of copper. And it looks like many of us really are in copper deficiency state. That's the story behind all this. And I believe it's true. And everybody I've talked to that has turned to copper in very small quantities. See, the problem with copper is that it's cheap. You can't make $1 million off of, or $1 billion off of copper. You can just get a bracelet, or we're taking a little bit of copper every day with whatever we're drinking. It's about 1/10 of a teaspoonful or something like that. And it's in Cardio Miracle too. Yeah. So we put it in our Cardio Miracle, I should say. Yeah. And so anyway, I'm a firm believer in this, even though I haven't seen the scientific papers, but it just makes sense. And the people I've talked to who have taken copper and silver supplements I've never heard any complaints, any bad talk. It's all good stuff. So the winner, I think you're on to something here. We know that silver is a good antibiotic, has no side effects if it's the right kind of silver, and it's pure silver, not mixed with something else like nickel, like in a coin. You don't want to take a nickel and put it in your mouth, not because of the silver that might be there, but because of the nickel that might be in there. And all of that story is a background, but I think it's a winning combination. So let's see who is the winner. Six, 6635. All right. Checking. Peter K. Okay, Peter K. Wherever you are, whoever you are the winner of the in Australia.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's going to cost something to ship it to Australia, but it's going to come to you. And I'm looking forward to hearing your story after you've tried some of these copper treatments. I think it's going to be surprising and very beneficial. Well, that's it, folks. It took longer than I thought it might because I talked too much, but all of these elements that we're talking about stimulate ideas and connections in my brain, and I just don't know where to cut them off. So I am so happy we're doing this, not only because it's interesting and everybody likes to be a winner of something, but because the information that's attached to these products is vital to our survival as a free and healthy human being. And I just feels good to be part of that process whereby we are pumping a little wisdom and knowledge into the world where we might actually save a few lives along the way and possibly save our liberty and our freedom as well. So with that, I just thank you for participating in this. And Carlene says that there were people online waiting for this event to come on a full hour ahead of time. I can't imagine that. We were quite late in getting the exact the message out as to exactly what time and where you can find it and how you can find it. So I apologize to those who maybe missed out on the actual live stream, which we're doing now. But I've tried to make it clear to everybody that asks that this will be on replay now for a couple of weeks. And so there's no reason that you can't still benefit, if I may use that word, of being exposed to this. You will be, if you are a winner and you were not able to watch this live stream, please be assured that we know who you are and what your email address is, and you will be notified, and these products will be sent to you. Now they'll be sent by the donors, so I can't guarantee how soon. I can only speak for myself. I will see that my coins are shipped by the middle of next week for sure. And what?
And books.
And books, yes. So with that, I just love you all and thank you for your enthusiastic support. And we're having fun as we fight for our lives. That's a strange mixture, isn't it? It reminds me back in the day when I was first becoming aware of the real severity of our situation in the world today, and it became very, very serious. I wanted to put a little levity into it. So when people ask me what I do, I sometimes would say, well, I got a little business on the side business. I'm fighting communism for fun and profit. It usually have some shock value to something. What's the matter? You're fighting communism for profit? You know? I said, oh, come on, relax, friend. And we're just having a little fun with this. But we have to have fun as we go along. Otherwise, we get a little bit morbid. So thanks for having fun with me. And I'll be talking to you soon. All right. Goodbye.